The way I like to explain the tax system, especially to employees of mine, is that it's just one big math problem. That's all it is. It shouldn't be too overwhelming or too complicated. I just see it as it's just one big math problem. So when you look at this, it looks very overwhelming. There's a lot of lines, a lot of numbers, and a lot of instructions. But all we have to do is just break it down as simple as possible. So the first part is, this is just the easy part. This is just the name, address, kid's name, kid's date of birth. So really basic stuff, right? Then you have, right here is where all the income, that's the income buckets that we talked about earlier, is all right here. And then you start getting into, below this is the adjustment to income, where you take deductions. And on the second page above this would be where you take the itemized deduction that we talked about earlier. Okay. So the way I like to do the tax problem, or the big math problem, is that we go into 3 different phases. There's phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. The first phase is all we do is add up all the income together. Very basic, just take all the income, add it together. You're going to minus the deductions from adjustment to income, and then you're going to minus either standard deduction versus itemized deduction, and then that comes out to be the taxable income. Okay, so I think that's very straightforward. That's phase 1. Now phase 2 is that you take the taxable income and then you multiply it by the tax bracket that you guys just worked on. That equals the tax liability. So all the numbers that you added up earlier, that's the tax liability that the client's going to owe based off the income that they have. And then you apply the non-refundable tax credit. So if, let's just say they owe $10,000 here, and there's a non-refundable tax credit of $2,000, that means their new tax liability is going to be $8,000. Okay? So that's phase 2. And then phase 3 is whatever the total tax liability is after doing all these calculations, you minus the withholdings, which is on the W-2. This is what the employees get for working at a company. And then you apply the refundable tax credit as well. And then at the end, you get the balance due, or whether it's a refund. Okay? So let's do a little quiz right here. Does anyone know what this is right here? Anyone remember? So if you add up all the income minus the deductions, then you get the taxable income, correct. And then here, once you get the taxable income, you multiply it by the tax bracket. It equals out to the tax liability, and then you take into account the non-refundable credit. What's the next line?
So the updated tax liability or still the tax liability?
Yeah, so total tax liability, okay? And then what's this one right here? Yep, correct. Balance due or refund. Perfect, okay? So as long as you see it as these 3 phases, it makes it really easy just to digest how taxes are. Instead of seeing it as one big overwhelming thing like IRS and all these forms, if you break it down into these 3 phases, this pretty much is a tax return. Okay? So let's go through it again. What do you think the first question mark is? Yep, perfect, good. And how about this one? Good. Yes. All right. Good. I love it. Okay. Okay. I think this is the last one. Let's make it. What's the first one? Yep. Add up all income minus adjustment to income deductions. Okay. Yeah. Good. Perfect. What is that? Withholdings. Yes. Good. Good. Okay, and that's it. That's all tax return is.